Prince Charles, 72, wants nothing more than to patch things up with his son Prince Harry, 36, and daughter-in-law Meghan Markle, 39, despite the couple's blistering attacks on the firm in recent months, a source has claimed. The future king faced a fresh swipe from Harry, who questioned his parenting abilities in a recent podcast interview with Dax Shepard. During the interview, Harry touched on inherited trauma and told Mr. Shepard, "Isn't life about breaking the cycle? There's no blame. I don't think anyone should be pointing the finger and blaming anyone. Certainly, when it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain and suffering because of the pain and suffering that perhaps my father or my parents suffered, I'm gonna make sure I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on, basically. It's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on anyway, so we as parents should be doing the most we can to try and say, you know what, that happened to me, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to you." Reacting to the podcast episode, a royal insider told the Daily Mail's Dan Wootton, "The Prince of Wales knows he didn't always succeed as a father, but he tried his absolute best. Harry has been hurting since he was a little boy. It's not an easy situation. But Prince Charles would much rather his son be by his side." Of course, there is disappointment and sadness about the Oprah interview, and the relationship with Harry is strained to say the least. They added, but Prince Charles, as the new patriarch of the royal family, is very aware of his future role and the need to protect the monarchy. An ongoing battle with Harry and Meghan in California is not conducive to that. At the end of the day, above everything else, family always comes first. The Prince of Wales would like to find a way to make Harry and Meghan included again, even though that is likely to take many years. According to royal insiders, Charles had hoped the recently announced departure of senior royal aide Jason Nairn as the boss of Prince William and Kate, Duchess of Cambridge's Royal Foundation, may help tempt the Sussexes back. Mr. Wootton wrote, "It's not often the exit of a senior royal courtier causes such a public stir. But when the man in question is a close ally of the Cambridges who had accused Meghan Markle of bullying staff members, the ramifications are significant indeed." Touching on Mr. Nairn's departure, a royal source explained, "Prince Charles and senior royal courtiers are very aware of the bitterness between Harry and Meghan and many of the senior staff who were in post during their time in the family after their wedding. Jason was particularly a lightning rod because he was also the communications secretary to Harry and Meghan, but then wrote the infamous letter accusing her of bullying staff that was leaked to the Times newspaper in the days before the Oprah interview. It was impossible to imagine any sort of rapprochement while he remained in a senior role at William and Kate's foundation and one of the key advisors." Another source claimed Charles hopes to find a new role for Harry once he is king. They told Mr. Wootton, "Things turned very sour between the Sussexes and Nairn once their operations were split with the Cambridges. They felt they could no longer trust him. The hope is that bridges will also be easier to rebuild bridges between William and Harry next year with a new team in place. That's what Charles wants them to do. He would like there to be a more pleasant atmosphere at family events in the medium term. But once Charles is king, in an ideal world, he would like to think there is a role for Harry." Prince Harry and Meghan have been based in the USA since last spring and currently expecting their second child, a baby girl who is due to be born this summer. Harry returned to the UK last month for his grandfather Prince Philip's funeral, and it was the first time he had publicly reunited with his royal relatives since Meghan. Tensions reached a height between the Sussexes and the royal household following the couple's explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey, which aired in March. In it, Harry and Meghan launched a series of damning attacks against the firm, among which was Harry's claim Charles stopped taking his calls ahead of Meghan.